Hello, this is Mr. Willis, and I am going to show you how to erase in Photoshop, a very useful skill. Now, before we begin erasing, we first have to check our layers. You'll notice I bring up layers in almost every video because it is that important. First thing to check is make sure that none of your layers have a lock on them. If you're seeing that lock symbol, go check the first video that I did again on how to get rid of it. Next thing I want to check is which layer have I selected, because whichever one I select is the one that I will actually be erasing. So for example, if I click this one on the bottom and then try and use my eraser tool, it doesn't look like I'm doing anything. I actually was erasing though. Once I move these layers on top, you'll see I've got some very ugly erase marks on my picture. That looks horrible. So let's undo that mistake and get everything fixed back to normal. There. Gotta love the undo button. Now, once I have done that, I'm going to make sure that I'm on the right layer, because in this case I actually want to erase the stuff around my face, because eventually I want to have my face replace Thor's face on here. And so I want to make sure the right layer is selected. And then to erase, I have a couple different methods. One is this eraser button. And this basically turns my mouse into an eraser. So I can just click and drag and it erases bits here. And you'll see that could take a while to work. If you want, you can pick different brushes or change the size of your brush, which would make it, if we make this a bit bigger, this would make the erase kind of go faster. But still, the really hard part is going to be, what about when I want to erase right next to my head? I mean, if you're really careful and really good with the mouse, you might be able to get it just right, but it's incredibly tough. And of course, there's a better way to do it, and that is using this magic wand tool. I want to do it when I click this tool is whenever I click it, it's going to automatically select everything that has a similar color to the area that I click. So for example, if I click on my red shirt here, you'll see how it's kind of already selected basically my entire shirt. And so if it's got the little dotted arrows, dotted lines around it, all I have to do now is push delete on my keyboard, and there we go. It just erased my entire shirt. Similarly, I can click up here in the gray area, and oh, before I click erase though, do you see what happened? It picked a little bit too much. It actually is trying to chop off my hair, and I have few enough hairs on my head as it is, so I don't want to chop off any more. So I'm going to click again just to undo that select, and I'm going to look up here at this tolerance. Right now it's set on 60. That's pretty high. So I'm going to turn that down to, say, 30. Okay, now this means the colors have to be a little closer before it will just select them. So now when I click in the gray area, that looks better. You'll see how it's getting right around my head. It didn't quite get this area over here, but it's not chopping off my head or chopping off an ear or anything like that. So I'll go ahead and push my delete button, and then I can get this other section here, and I can do the same with the section around my neck here. And there we go. I've got it basically down to my head. Now this is where the erase tool really comes in handy. Alright, and so I'll click on my erase tool and get these little bits, but oh, are you noticing that this isn't working? Before I can use the erase tool, let me go back to the magic wand tool, and you see how there's still some of the dotted lines here? We have to get rid of those before any other tools will work. So I'm going to just click one more time, right click and choose deselect. Okay, that was right click deselect. That will kind of get rid of any of those lines that are in the way, and now I can go back to just my regular eraser tool, and this is really good for clearing away, little bits of stuff. Okay, another thing that's very useful when I'm using the eraser tool is to also use this zoom. It's the magnifying glass. And so if I zoom in, a lot of times I can start to see the stuff that maybe I was missing before. Like I'm seeing there's some stuff here that I'm going to have to erase. Another tool I can do is, right now it's hard to see, a Thor right behind me there. It might be hard to see what all I have to erase. So down here on the layers, I'm going to click on the little eye next to Thor. Oh, now he's gone. Now I can really see the couple bits left here. So I can erase just a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here. And there we go. I've got it down basically to just my face and my neck. And in this case, I'm going to go ahead and use the eraser to get rid of my neck. I may not have to get rid of it perfectly, but for what I'm going to try and do, it's probably best if it's out of the way here. And so this is where I'm going to be very careful as I go through, and you don't want to move too fast. And just in case you do something like this and erase too much, remember you have an undo button to fix that. Okay, but there's the end goal. Just my face, pretty much everything else from that layer is gone, and I'm ready for the next step.